Hi, I'm Aaron Hall. Jill the Shoeshine Girl and I are at one of Victoria's local coffee hotspots. Usually we take a look at a chef, an event, or a location that I think is amazing. But today we're going to see one episode of a 6-episode series focusing on coffee houses. So get comfortable and be prepared to see something that is totally delicious. Ken, we're here today to find out what was the inspiration for making this location so much in the downtown core?
Well, I coveted this location for years before I actually acquired it. When I was training staff at Fantastico or teaching people at Habit, teaching people how to make coffee at the university, I would always reference this spot. I talked about how this would be my retirement dream, would be to have a little one-man show that I could run with one other person and not have to deal with a big staff and be quite literally right here at street level.
You have one of the strongest coffee tribes in the city. Where do you think that came from?
Honestly, I think it comes from presenting a really authentic experience. I interact with people and give them my honest self, and I have a passion for making really good quality products, and so I think that resonates with the customer.
A lot of the places we've been visiting have their own roastery, and they're real big on where they get their coffee from. Yeah. Your coffee is as good as anywhere else I've ever had. It's probably the best location downtown to get an Americano. Where do you get your coffee from?
Our coffee is roasted by my friends at Discovery Coffee. It's a blend of Colombian, Panama, and Costa Rican beans.
What's the deal with the cameras?
Well, I've always been a bit of a fetishist for toy cameras and shooting low fidelity with plastic lenses. As you'll see here on my espresso machine, I just have buttons that control an on and an off. There's no pre-programmed times, everything's being done manually. And the same thing with these cameras is that they're all, you're having to deal with exposing light to light sensitive paper and not, you kind of have to know what's going on with them. And then the same thing with playing records, and you kind of have a fetish for doing everything a little bit lo-fi and analog. You defy gravity.
Where do you see that coffee is moving? I mean, there was a big movement, you and I were talking about this before, that there was a big movement for dark roast. And there was some talk about lighter roast. Well, what's that all about?
You'll find you get more caffeine out of a lighter roast, and you'll honor the coffee more. The darker you roast a bean, the more you can mask any imperfections or impurities in it. You can just sort of make it all taste smoky.
Right.
If I gave you a bunch of random pieces of bread and told you I wanted them all to taste exactly the same, the best way you could achieve that would be by toasting them all until they were black. And that way they would all taste the same, you know? But if you're buying expensive coffee beans green and you're wanting to really showcase why they were expensive and what makes them interesting and gives them unique characteristics, you need to treat them more delicately and allow them to be a brighter living thing.
Yeah, this quality of the coffee bean seems to be a big deal lately. I've noticed that a lot of the coffee bags are being lined with plastic in order to make sure that they don't get moldy or anything like that. I mean, there was a story about the mildew in the bags being part of the flavor of certain coffees, and you know, I think that there's kind of a push towards purity these days, and you know, a very regular grind so that all of the pieces are the same size, and a younger bean. Maybe this is like a finer palate that we're seeing?
I think that people's palates are more refined these days, yeah. And they're looking for coffee today is where red wine was where wine was in the 1980s.
Thanks for joining me at one of my favorite places downtown to sit, meet friends, and have a really great coffee house experience. My name's Aaron Hall, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again at our next delicious hotspot. That is delicious.